Rise and Fall of the Persian Empire, Part 2. The World Before Cyrus the Great. Before the rise of Persia, the Near East was a land of mighty empires. Great civilizations, powerful kings, and vast armies clashed for dominance. But beneath the surface of these ancient superpowers, cracks were beginning to form. And in these cracks, a new force was waiting to emerge. This is the world before Cyrus the Great. In the 6th century BCE, three great powers dominated the region. The Neo-Babylon Empire, the jewel of Mesopotamia, famous for its grand cities, towering walls, and the legendary hanging gardens. The Median Empire, a fierce kingdom of warriors and horsemen who ruled the Iranian plateau and beyond. The Lydian Kingdom, a wealthy land of gold and trade, controlling the crossroads between East and West. Together, these empires shaped the ancient world, but they also laid the foundation for their own downfall. Let's explore each of these powers and how their struggles created the perfect opening for Persia's rise. Babylon, the legendary city of the Mesopotamian plains, stood as a beacon of culture, wealth, and power. Under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon reached its golden age. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, was said to be built under his reign. The city's walls were so thick that chariots could ride on top of them. Babylon became the center of art, science, and religion, drawing scholars and merchants from across the known world. But power comes with enemies. Babylon's rule was harsh. Nebuchadnezzar led campaigns of conquest and exile, including the infamous destruction of Jerusalem and the forced exile of the Jewish people. His successors struggled to maintain the empire. King Nabonidus, the last ruler of Babylon, was seen as unstable and unpopular. Many of his subjects, including the priesthood and military officials, began to resent his rule. Babylon was still mighty, but internally it was fracturing. And when Persia eventually came knocking, many within the city would welcome their new rulers. To the northeast, the Medes ruled over vast lands, stretching across modern-day Iran and beyond. They had been warriors and horsemen, known for their ability to conquer and govern. In 612 BCE, they played a key role in destroying the Assyrian Empire alongside Babylon. Their capital, Ecbatana, was a fortress city, home to a strong king, Astyages. But the Medes had one major problem. They ruled through fear, not unity. Their empire was a patchwork of different tribes and cultures, loosely held together. The Persians, once a subject people of the Medes, were growing stronger and more independent. Many in the Median court questioned Astyages' rule, and whispers of rebellion began to spread. Astyages was powerful, but his grip on his empire was weakening, and the Persians, under the leadership of Cyrus, were ready to seize their moment. To the west, in Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, lay the Lydian kingdom, ruled by King Croesus, a name that would forever be associated with wealth and arrogance. Lydia was one of the richest kingdoms in the ancient world. It controlled massive gold deposits, including the Pactolus River, which was said to flow with gold. It was the first known civilization to mint gold and silver coins, revolutionizing trade. Its capital, Sardis, was a thriving hub of commerce and culture. But gold cannot protect against war. Croesus was confident, believing his kingdom to be invincible. He relied heavily on alliances with the Greeks and his wealth to protect his land. But he underestimated the rising Persian power. When Cyrus eventually came for Lydia, Croesus would learn a harsh lesson. Gold does not win wars, strategy does. So, with these three mighty powers dominating the Near East, how did Persia, a relatively small kingdom, rise to defeat them all? Several key factors played into Persia's advantage. Discontent in the empires. The Babylonians were growing tired of their rulers. The Median nobility was divided. The Lydians were overconfident. This created opportunities for Cyrus to strike. Persia's strategic position. The Persian lands were protected by mountains, making them hard to invade. At the same time, they sat on major trade routes, allowing wealth and resources to flow in. A different leadership style. While the Medes and Babylonians ruled through fear and oppression, Cyrus would soon introduce a new style of leadership, one based on unity and respect. A military revolution. The Persian army was evolving. Instead of relying solely on heavy chariots and infantry, they mastered cavalry warfare, using their speed and tactics to outmaneuver their enemies. All of these factors combined to set the stage for Persia's rise. But where did Cyrus come from? Who were the Achaemenids, the royal family that would build an empire? The Achaemenid Dynasty traces its roots back centuries before Cyrus. According to Persian tradition, the dynasty began with Achaemenids, a semi-legendary figure who led the Persians in the distant past. Over time, his descendants became local rulers under the Medes. Cyrus's father, Cambyses I, was a Persian king, but he was still a vassal of the Median Empire. Cyrus was born into nobility, but not into power. To make Persia truly independent, he would have to challenge the very empire that once ruled over his ancestors. The world before Cyrus was one of powerful but declining empires. The Babylonians, once glorious, were divided. The Medes, once feared, were losing control. The Lydians, once wealthy, were blind to danger. And in the shadows of these great kingdoms, a new power was rising. A young leader named Cyrus was about to step forward. He would not just conquer nations, he would change the way empires were built. In the next episode, we follow the rise of Cyrus the Great. How did he defeat the Medes? How did he outsmart King Croesus? And how did he build the greatest empire the world had ever seen? Stay tuned for part 3 as we witness the birth of an empire. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The story of Persia is just beginning.